What's going on? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important aspects of money management, which is budgeting. So in the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to be playing a clip that was taken off a live webinar I hosted a few weeks ago that's going to walk you through how to create a budget spreadsheet, what it should look like, and how it would work. Now, in this next clip that I'm going to show you, I'm going to mention that I'm going to be sending you the spreadsheet. Since this is not the live webinar, go ahead and send me an email at the email address provided in the section below, and I'll shoot you an email back of the budget spreadsheet. The webinar starts off with a little history of myself, then we jump right into how to budget your money. Enjoy. Hey guys, what's up? I'm really excited to be here today. I hope you are too. It's going to be a short session today, 30, 40 minutes maybe. And we're going to talk about effective budgeting, how to create a budget sheet, and as well as I'm going to do a full walkthrough of creating a budget sheet and how that might look and work. And for everyone that's on the call right now, you'll all be getting the template that I'm using to produce this budget sheet. I'll email it to all of you. And in the email, I'll have some instructions as to how you can use it. Okay. So before we jump in, I want to tell you why I know that budgeting is one of the most important aspects of personal finance, if not the most. And it's one of the most simple things to be done within personal finance, right? A lot of you may already know how to budget. Some of you may not. Don't worry. I know we're talking money, finance, numbers. Don't get anxious. Don't get scared of talking about finance or looking at numbers. It's all extremely simple. You're not going to have to do any math, and it's going to be a highly effective tool that you can use as you move forward in your lives. So we'll get to the spreadsheet in just a minute, but right before that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to spending most of my life learning about money, learning about finances, and helping people and businesses with the knowledge and education that I got. Cool. So before I was born, my family used to live in Iran, and they were really poor. And in the late 80s, they wanted to get away from the war. They wanted to get out of Iran and get out of the war. So with the help of some military personnel in Iran, my parents, my sister, and my grandma were able to move over to Zurich, Switzerland. And Zurich, Switzerland is actually where I was born. So I got something cool to show you here. At least it's very cool to me. There we go. On the screen, you should see the hostel that my family ended up moving to when they moved from Iran to Switzerland. Like I mentioned, we were really poor, right? And if you don't know what a hostel is, it's pretty much just a roof over your head, okay? That's a picture of me standing in front of that hostel that we used to live in. I mean, it's newly renovated now, or when that picture was taken. I had the opportunity to go visit just a couple years ago. And no, I didn't plan on matching my pants to the building, but that's just how it happened, right? So thankfully, they let me walk through this hostel that my family used to live in, and I shot a video. And from that video, I took just a couple of screenshots that I'm sharing with you right now. And those screenshots, so on the left, what you're seeing is shared showers, right? In this hostel, every floor had a bathroom, and every floor had to share that bathroom. So the toilets, the wash, the showers, right? Everything was shared. And right now, as you see in the picture, the showers are pretty private, right? There's at least a door and wall in between each. But back then, when I FaceTimed my mom and I was showing her all this, she was saying they didn't have any of that, right? It was just open showers. So this is, again, renovated. So imagine back then, right? The picture on the right side is the community eating area. On the first floor is where everyone had a place to go grab food and eat something if you were able to, or whatever you had, because there was no space in the room that you lived to put any tables or anything. There was really nothing. It was just four walls, right? Maybe like a small bedroom. Anyhow, so that's how and where I was born. And soon after I was born, we actually had the opportunity to come to the United States. And that's really where everything began for me, right? All my troubles began for me. And thankfully, my perception of how important money is began for me at an early age, too. So here is a picture of a Dr. Seuss address book. And in this address book are some notations you can see that I wrote, Dad owes me some money, and then some of it's dated in 2001, 2002. I actually have budgeting a couple years before this, but this is the photo that I just wanted to share with you today. And it 2001, guys, I was 12 years old, right? March '01, I was 12 years old. So I've been budgeting for a really long time, or at least I started to understand the importance of money given the situation that I was in. Um, and I started to implement and learn what I knew to do, or I thought to do a long time ago. So that's just something that I wanted to quickly share with you. And since then, my journey has been, like I mentioned, always around finance, learning more, educating myself, and then giving back to people and businesses to help educate them and improve their financial situation and their financial decisions. Cool? Okay. So let's get into budgeting. I want you to, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, awesome. If you don't, just think about this. Uh, on a piece of paper, right in the middle, I want you to draw a line from the top to the bottom. Okay. At the top left corner, I want you to write monthly income. And on the top right, write expenses. You're done. You have now created a blank template for a budget sheet. Okay. This is how simple it is, guys. But again, it's one of the most important and overlooked things that you could do within personal finance. So let's jump into the spreadsheet here, and I'll show you the spreadsheet that I have built out and how a budget works and how the spreadsheet works. Okay. So you have your monthly income here on the left side, right? And on the right side, you have your monthly expenses. Perfect. So first thing you need to do is figure out what your net income is and how often you're paid. And by net income, I mean, what is the money that comes to you that you're able to spend that you no longer have to pay taxes or Social Security or anything like that, right? So for the most common example, when we get paid every 2 weeks, typically your taxes and everything are removed and that income is your net. All right. For the sake of this spreadsheet, we're going to assume that we're earning net biweekly income of, let's say, $3,000. Okay. So not big weekly. Okay. So net biweekly, 3,000. Right. We're going to do another 3,000. So that would fulfill the month. Got it. And if you notice down here at the bottom of the spreadsheet, you see that 6,000. So this totals up all of your income column. And once you have it all filled out, it'll give you the total. We'll get to these totals in just a minute. So outside of biweekly, some of us have a side business, we have side income, whatever it might be. So add in what your net income from those things are. So let's just say we have 2 side businesses and they earn $2,500 and $2,000 per. Okay. And in funds owed, let's say you let someone borrow $100 and you know they're going to pay you back for the month, right? That's still income. You want to consider anything that you're going to earn after the taxes that need to be paid on it within this income here. Other could be, for example, returns, right? Say you bought something or a couple things at Nordstrom, you expect to return it, you know you're going to get the $100 back or whatever the amount was. Okay. So now you have a total income. Your total income, or this person's total income, would be $10,700. Okay. So let's move into the monthly expenses. And this part is also really important, and it's one of the two primary aspects of budgeting, income and expense, right? We'll start with credit cards. So one thing I want to highlight about the credit cards is always make sure that you're paying at least your minimum payment, okay? I would recommend paying in full if you're able to, but you want to make sure that you're always at least paying your minimum and you know that amount. So just keep that in mind. So for credit cards, let's say we have an American Express and our minimum payment on that's $200. Okay, let's say we got a Capital One and we're going to pay $300 to that, and so on, right? You could fill it out, your credit cards, what the amounts are, what the amount you want to pay is. Another category I have here is rent or home, right? And rent goes within there. Rent, mortgage, however you want to label it, right? And let's just say for this person rents $2,500, groceries. So to be able to determine things like groceries, right? Some things that are variable. It's not one standard payment, for example, rent. How you figure that out is look back a few months and determine the average spend you have on these certain expenses, right? So for groceries, we'll assume the average spend is $300 for this person. And we have internet, let's say it's $80, and so on, right? Cars, same idea. So lease payment. The idea is you want to be as thorough as possible. You want to get every expense that you know you have on this expense side. It's going to take some thinking, but there are primary things, right, that are your usuals, like water and power, gas bill, you got the phone bill. So those things are pretty typical and they hover within a few dollars between the statements, right? So you want to get as much information as you can there. Now, you notice we have savings here, but it's within expenses. And that's actually done intentionally. And the reason for that is a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to spend my money. I don't earn enough. I'll spend it. And if there's anything left, I'll save what's left. Those are the people who have no money, right? And some reason, you just never end up having any money to save when you plan it that way. Again, the importance of planning, importance of budgeting. So you want to assume that savings are an expense. So let's say you have an account for safety savings. You want to put $250 towards that every month. And let's say you also want to invest. You want to invest $1,000 a month, right? And so on and so on. This total here, again, takes into consideration your savings amount. So now you have your total income and your total expenses. On the right side, if you see here the spendable, so the spendable amount is the difference between your income and your expenses. So if you take 10,700, subtract the 5,330, you'll end up with $5,370, right? Wow, that's a lot, right? To a lot of people, that's a lot. You can spend and buy all these things and do all these things, but we're not done yet. We're not done just yet, okay? So I want to give you a full picture of this filled out completely so you get to see what it looks like. And on the next picture that I'll show you, you'll see that this savings has actually been moved up to the top right, but it's all one and the same. The expenses are still taking into consideration the savings. I've just separated it to make it look more clean. So here's what it looks like. You have your monthly income, you have your monthly expenses, then we have some savings, right? And since this is all filled out now, we have some more expenses like gym, life insurance, right? Gas, what the average gas payments are that you pay for your car every month. Once all this is complete, you see that, okay, there's $4,065 left after my monthly income, my expenses, my usual expenses, and my savings. Now, the spendable amount is typically the amount that you want to use for entertainment, going out, pocket money, right, for that month. However, we're not done, right? This is, now what you're looking at is a sample of a perfect way to budget and to kind of get an overview of what's going on in your financial life and financial situation and be able to start to make changes here as you need, right? You'll notice what I'm paying, or you'll start to notice what you're paying too much for. Maybe you want to earn some more money, how you can do that, and so on. So a lot of you might be thinking, okay, but what if I have credit card debt or student loan debt, or I want to save for a vacation? How does this all play in here, right? That plays in this next tab here, which is the full budget sheet that I'm going to be sending to you, is this here. Don't worry, all that's happened is we've taken all of this, right? What we just created together, that's all here. It's the same information. The only addition is, as you see on the right side, we have long-term. And long-term includes those goals, includes things you want to save for, as well as your total debt, things that you want to pay down or need to pay down, right? So let's work on this side for just a minute here. Okay, long-term goals. Let's say we want to buy a house. We're renting right now. So we thought, okay, I want to buy a house. For the house, we know we need or want $50,000 to put as a down payment. That's our goal, right? We want to save $50,000 to be able to put it down on this house. Well, how long do we want to take to save or hit this goal? Okay, in this case, let's say 5 years or 60 months. 60 months. Awesome. So you see on this right side, it generated $833. That's what you need to save every month to be able to save $50,000 to put the down on that house. Okay. All right, let's keep going on here. Let's say we want to go on a Euro trip and we want $8,000 for that. And we want to go in 2 years. And then we want to save for a new car. We want to put 10,000 down, and I want to have that down within 3 years. Okay. So you see how you're getting all these monthly amounts. To be able to hit your goal within this period of time, you need to save this much money. Okay. So what you do here is you know your goals and you know the monthly amounts that you need to save. So we're going to go back to the left side here, right? Into the savings box. And we're going to add these things. So the house, $833, Euro trip, right? There we go. Nope. Euro trip. Yep. Okay. $333. Car, $278. Right? You see how we're taking the information from our goals and adding it to our savings, adding it in addition to our safety net savings, our investments, and whatever else that we want to save for. Okay. Now, looking at the long-term side again, let's look at the debt. Let's assume that we have an Amex card, and on that card, we owe $4,500. I want to pay this off in a year. So that's $375 every month for 12 months, and we'll pay that card off. Do the same with Capital One. Say we owe $2,500. I want to pay that in 10 months. Chase Freedom, we owe $8,000. I want to pay that in 10 months too. So those are credit cards. You can add anything here, right? So student loans. Maybe you're on a student loan program. Maybe you want to pay in addition, or whatever else your case might be. So whatever your debts are, right? Student loans, $120,000, right? And I want to pay that off, let's say in 80 months. It's $1,500 a month. So you see how all of this, you're getting a breakdown as to what you need to pay each month to be able to pay off these debts. Now, we already filled in the debts. So let's go back to our monthly expenses. We had decided we want to pay American Express $200, right? Let's just say that's the minimum payment that we had to pay. Okay, well, I can afford to spend some more and pay some more towards that American Express. And I know that because down here, the spendable, so you have $2,600. Well, we're not going to spend that much this month, right? We have debt, we have goals. We're not going to go out and buy these expensive things or whatever else it is, right? If we want to be disciplined and hit our goals and pay off our debt. So the minimum's 200, but we're going to pay that 375. Now, Capital One. our goal or the minimum to pay was $250 to hit our goal, we chose we'll pay $300, right? We can afford that right now. And the same thing with the Chase Freedom. If you have other cards that you don't have total debt on, for example, let's say we have a Discover card, right? And we just pay that off in full every month. Well, however much of it that you've used or you plan on using, depending on which ways you're going about budgeting, you put in that amount here, right? Let me get rid of that for now. Okay, so now you have this picture of, okay, my long-term goals, my total debt, and you use these two pieces of information to be able to adjust your month's budget, both in the expenses column and in the savings column. Okay, so the next tab is going to show you a full view of this all completed. There we go. So let's walk through this one more time, okay? From the top, we have our monthly income, and that's our net income. And net income is after your taxes, after Social Security, Medicare, whatever it is, right? If it's a business and you pay yourself a certain amount, you know just about what your taxes will be, take that amount out. If you don't know what your taxes will be, there are online calculators you can use and assume what taxes might be to be able to get your net amount. So just so I didn't confuse anyone there, by that I mean if you get paid $5,000, right, and you don't have Social Security, you're not paying taxes on it, but at the end of the year you're going to file taxes. You need to pay taxes on the $5,000, so you can't put $5,000 here because when time comes, you're going to have to pay the taxes, and you're going to be short a lot of money if you're not cognizant of taking out taxes before you calculate this budget, right? For a lot of people who are working and are employed on a W-2, your income, your biweekly, your monthly, your bonuses, those typically include all of the taxes and other deductions. So typically you can use the amount or the average of the amount from, for example, your last 5 paychecks. Going back here, we'll assume we're earning W-2 and our average every 2 weeks that we're getting is $3,000, right? So all this is filled out. We got the total of 10,700 and all of the expenses are filled out, right? And we have a total of 7,000 expenses and a total of about 2,700 in savings, right? And the savings include our long-term goals, the house, the Euro trip, the new car, right? Then we look at the spendable amount here. So like I had mentioned, the spendable amount here takes into consideration the income. I mean, it takes the income and it reduces the expenses and it reduces the savings. Pretty much your income minus whatever it is you plan to spend will give you this number. The spendable amount, I like to think of, okay, $946 I can spend this month. I'm going out, movies, maybe the pair of shoes, whatever it might be, right? So that's where the key is being able to understand yourself and your spending habits and take into consideration the spendable amount when you know, for example, okay, I know my average spending or entertainment is about $500 a month, right? That doesn't mean I have an extra $446 to go out and buy somewhere, buy a PS4 or buy shoes or whatever it is, right? That's not what it means. What that means to me is if I only spend $500 a month and I have the spendable number of 946, I'm going to go right back up here to savings and I'll add the, let's see, it's 446, right? So I'll add that difference to my investments, right? This is how you have your money grow. When you invest your money, depending on risk tolerance and other factors, right? The idea is for it to grow. And this is how you do it, not by continuously buying stuff that's going to go to waste in little to no time and you have nothing to show for it, right? And the other way around too. So say your spendable shows 946, just like this, but you got kids, family, you know that, and you got, for example, you know, you got 4 weddings coming up, and you got every month there's a birthday, whatever it might be. So that's not going to be enough, right? So then you go back here and you try to see, okay, where can I cut down on the expenses? Can I earn any more money to make the difference? And lastly, you look at savings to see, okay, maybe the car down payment, maybe I'm trying to save for that too quickly. I'll do this in 5 years instead of 3 years, right? So we change the period from 3 years, 36 months to 5 years. And I want you to look on the right side here. So 278 a month turns into 167. So that's $100 right there, right? If your new car is now going to take 167 a month, we update it on this side as well. And you see you have a higher spendable amount for that month. So I'm going to get a copy over to everyone that's on the call here. Again, I'll mention some brief notes as to how you can use this. But guys, you can do this on a piece of paper, do your income, your expenses, and just manage that spendable amount. Okay. On the spreadsheet, I just want to mention that anything that has a highlight and a number, for example, the bottom totals here, the percentages, right? And on the right side, the long term, the save per month, and the totals. So if it's highlighted and it has numbers, don't mess with that cell. Don't change anything there. And the reason for that is these have calculations in them. And if you mess with it and you don't know how to use Excel, you're going to lose the calculations that are preset for you. Okay. I would also recommend save a separate copy of this, maybe save 2 copies, and keep one as your template so that if you do mess up or change something, you can always come back and revert back to utilizing a clean, neat, and functioning budget sheet. So that's really it, guys. I really hope that this was helpful for you. And I, again, really want to stress the importance of doing this and understanding how to do this. I've been doing this for dozens of years, as I mentioned, from at about the age of 8, right? And I've worked in my life, I've worked with poor people, with broke people, with extremely rich people, and with big corporations, right? Fortune corporations. And through my experience and my education, I'm going to say again, these fundamentals I've found are of most importance and we're lacking regardless of people's income or situation in life. So I don't care if you earn $500 a month. I don't care if you earn $10 million a month. You got to do this. You should do this, or else regardless of whatever you're earning, you're going to be throwing it away. Okay. I hope you all stay in touch. We're going to have webinars at least once a month. And we also have a lot of free content and updates through Instagram. That's at Osaturi Strategy. You can follow us there for promotions and upcoming events. All right. I hope you all have a great weekend and take care.